I think MMA fighters nowadays are 10 times what they started, and these little kids that are training now are going to be unbelievable in years to come, whereas as adults we started doing other disciplines together. These kids now are wrestling in elementary school, they're doing karate, they're doing judo, and they're going this base, and people say, I had a guy say, well, you're bringing this kid traveling all over, that's not a way to live life. I said, I'll tell you, these athletes, they're not just learning to compete, they're not just learning, they are learning discipline, desire, work ethic. I mean, this big computer mogul guy one time said, he wrestled in high school, and he said, you give me two guys, the same quality, same education, same qualifications, one wrestled, one didn't, I'll take the wrestler. Because if you take that MMA guy or that wrestler, that jiu-jitsu guy that trained for years and years and years, he has that work ethic, he has that drive, he has that heart to push forward to get what needs to be done. So you're not just building what you call a fighter, you're building an athlete. I was at work one day and I overheard one of the guys talking about this tournament, and it was grappling and whatever, and I was like asking, what do you do? What is it about? And he was explaining, that, it's all different martial arts, and I was like, because I wrestled, and he said, well, it's not just wrestling, you can't just do that, whatever. So I called my buddy and I said, hey, do you want to go to this tournament? So he's like, sure. So we go to the tournament, and I think there was like 86 or 88 guys in the tournament, but a lot of guys my weight, so we had like 8 guys. And we get there and we're thinking, okay, what are we going to do? And I just said, well, watch the first couple matches, and then we'll just do what they do. And lo and behold, they called me first. So, I just went out and wrestled. I threw people, I'm a Greco guy, so I threw people in headlocks and choked them out with headlocks and won the tournament. And that's how it kind of started. Between doing the judo and the kickboxing and wrestling and stuff like that, I got the leg locks from Sambo, and I started, after KIP, I started traveling up to Fall River, Mass, with JBA Jiu-Jitsu up there. They had a lot of real good grapplers, good fighters up there, and so I was traveling up there twice a week. And as I was up there, the owner, Donnie Banville, was putting on a fight, extreme fighting. So he was like, hey, do you want to fight? And I was like, yeah. So he threw me on a card, and that was we had just opened up Strike Zone then in 2001. So myself and 2 other guys actually got on the card. They didn't like it. My father didn't like it first, and my mom never came to my fights. My dad didn't like it, but he was at every judo match, wrestling match. He went to my kickboxing, even though but the first fight, he didn't. No, he did go to the first fight, but he was like in and out, and then the second fight, he wasn't. He said he didn't want to go. He couldn't stand it. So I was supposed to call him right after the fight. Well, after the fight, I won, things are crazy, I forgot to call, he's freaking out, so now he sits ringside every fight because he wants to know if something goes wrong, and nobody wants to sit next to him because he's, elbowing and throwing, but biggest fan. I have neck problems. I've had 2 spinal surgeries. My first spinal surgery I had in 2001, and then 2009 I had another one. So they don't want to clear me to fight now because of the the work I had done, whatever else. My doctor here wanted to put parts in me, metal in me. I didn't want it because I don't want to. I'm still hoping that I can find a doctor somewhere with a plan that could do something to get me back in the cage.
So you really do want to fight again?
Yeah. And it's for the competitiveness, and I'm in the gym every day anyway, and I'm doing what I'm doing with the guys, and I got good guys and decent guys, and I can still hold my own, and there's nothing like standing in that cage or in that ring and your hand held high. There's nothing in the world like it, and the winning becomes an addiction. I think it's very, very important to find a team and a coach that you bond with, that cares about you and you alone, and every person, because there's guys out there that they don't care. They want their 20, 30, 40%, whatever they're going to get, and they're just going to line you up and throw you against everybody. And we all know the promoters, a lot of promoters, not top notch, but the smaller promoters, They just want to take that guy that's going to sell 100 tickets and give him what I call a toe tag, you know, so he can win and they can make all the money. I mean, there's a guy in New Jersey that I fought that was a monster, but he started out his career with something like 2-5. But he fought Jim Miller, he fought Frankie Edgar, it was one of the Kurt Pellegrino. I mean, you know, what kind of guy takes a kid and throws him his first 5 fights against that caliber? You know, so it's like, it's most important because you could take a guy, you could take the same guy I could take. He could end up 2-8 with you and end up 10-0 with me as he's growing. So, I mean, me and my fighters, I Google everybody. I Google, you know, Joe Jackson, I Google wrestling, I Google jiu-jitsu, I Google boxing, and I check everybody out and make sure that my fighter has, you know, the best matchup possible, you know, because as a coach, I don't ever, and I tell this to my guys when they want to fight, I don't ever want to put my guy in, have some guy sitting on his chest, dropping bombs on him. I got these fighters, they come in and, you know, some of them don't have fathers, so I'm like a father figure to them, and, you know, they come to me to vent, they got girl problems, whatever problems. Like I said, I've had a few of them live with me for a few years, so it's like, I'm almost everything to them. You know, they got girl problems, they call me. They got work problems, they call me to fight. What am I going to do? How do I handle this? So when they get in there, I'm like on edge because I can't do it for them. I try to keep a level head. I try to give them the best direction. I make sure that they are in the top shape.